Time to continue our conversation with documentarian, writer, director, producer of that film, There's No Place Like Utopia, Joel Gilbert. Joel, we heard mention there of the urban removal project, not urban renewal, urban removal. What's meant by that?
Well, I travel to all these progressive controlled cities. I go to Detroit, Chicago, Newark, Denver. I even run into Michelle Obama's mother on the south side of Chicago. And I just talk to people and hear their stories, and we find out very quickly, even though progressives have been in control for 50, 60 years, they've got 60% unemployment, drug culture, violence, gangs. No one has been progressing, they've been regressing all this time. So it's an expose of the reality of progressivism in America and how it's destroyed all of our greatest cities with these policies.
Joel, does the film explore the issue of amnesty for illegals, for example, or political correctness?
I do. I actually go down to Home Depot in Los Angeles, and I talk to these guys that are sitting there, came from Guatemala, El Salvador, Mexico. I ask them, why are you here? And right away they say, because socialism destroyed our countries. We can't find a job. It's deteriorated. So they came here to escape socialism. And I kind of explained to them that I think they're being used by our progressives as tools to disrupt and attack our middle class. Middle class America, the church-going, religious people that work hard every day will never buy into this progressive nonsense. So the progressives view the middle class as their enemy, and they'll do anything and everything they can to disrupt and degrade our middle class.
Joel, one thing about the left, they seem to employ short-term psychology operations against many on the right. For example, right now the debate, a lot of conservatives, led by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, says, oh, we need these people here, and they're hard-working people, when in fact they would overload and bankrupt the system. So why is it the left takes a long view, and a lot of guys in business only see to the end of their nose or to the next quarterly report?
Well, for the left, it's about an ideology. It's about the revolution. Everything's about the revolution, to disrupt and overthrow the free market system. So they're always focusing on the long term. The short-term appeasers, like the establishment, Republicans, are the ones that have enabled this to go on for too long.
Joel, this was obviously a journey for you. You went across America. I guess personally, in your own words, what you got out of it and what you learned? What
I learned, which I didn't expect to learn, was that America is still a very traditional society, and people want a wholesome traditional life. Especially, I met a lot of these minorities, African Americans, black women. The greatest conservatives in America are black women living in progressive cities. They've been had. They know they've been had, and they want a wholesome life. They don't want their kids smoking marijuana. They don't want illegals to come in and take their jobs. They don't want any part of this progressive nonsense. And as long as I think we have a debate and people hopefully see this film, There's No Place Like Utopia.com, it will really wake up and educate people.
Got about a minute left, Joel. In your opinion, because you talk about no greater conservatives than African-American females in the inner city, and yet this identification with race, this identification of someone who outwardly appears to be like them, was that the overwhelming factor that sent Obama to the White House?
I think so. I mean, from the get-go, white communists brought Barack Obama into Chicago from New York to infiltrate and agitate the black church groups that wanted nothing to do with Marxism because it was atheist. And since that time, they've used a lot of their own to try to fool them into thinking that, well, we're going to look out for you because we're folks of the same background. But I think they're finally seeing through it, that they don't have their best interests at heart. And I think the world of outside of progressivism has the best promise for them to succeed.
Joel, before we say goodbye, tell us where we can get our hands on it or where we can actually see it.
Well, you can get it right now. There's no place like utopia.com. And then December 2nd, the film is going to be in 100 million homes on demand, iTunes, Amazon on demand, everywhere.
And you're in great demand, Joel Gilbert. We appreciate you taking time to join us today to talk about There's No Place Like Utopia, except, of course, here on the set of America's Forum. Back with more after this.